Hi, do you want to become a better speaker, being able to speak in public? Do you have that fear of speaking in public? You know, that saying that says, I'd rather be dead than speaking in front of a group of people? Well, the person we have on today is great. Her name is Jean MacDonald. She has been talking about finding the fortune of follow-up, coaching new speakers, and learning and teaching people how to fascinate. She's an excellent coach and definitely someone who you should be listening to, as Jeffrey Gitomer has said right here. Right, we've got a quick promo from Jeffrey Gitomer.
Suggested reading on follow-up, Finding the Fortune, How to Strengthen Your Follow-Up Strategies, Jean MacDonald. Oh, I know Jean MacDonald. She's amazing.
So hi, Jean. So
Good
you've got
morning.
a fan there.
Good morning, Bruce.
Morning. So you got a fan there with Jeffrey Gitomer.
I do. I've known him for years. Good guy. Good guy. You know what? He always said the best way to find business is to talk to old business. And that was a key that I took away many years ago.
Yeah, actually, these days it's really hard to find that new business because people are so concerned with their current operations that the last thing they want to hear is from a cold call, and it's almost like trying to sell them something that they're not interested in.
You're absolutely right. In fact, the other day, a gal told me she was going to go out to cold call, and it was really making her nervous. And I said to her, "Why are you cold calling?" I said, "For all the years I've been in business, I've never cold called." She said, "Well, how do you find new business?" I said, "How do you build relationships? One face at a time. How do you get known? If nobody knows you, they can't do business with you. So what do you need to do to get known?" And she looked at me and said, "That's a great idea." So I asked her to write down a list of people she knew. So I said, pick 5 happy faces and see if they won't help you out to grow your business.
Yep. And again, also connecting with those people who you already do know, which is one of my biggest shortfallings, is that follow-up. And I know there are statistics on follow-up where only 10% of the people make more than one call.
Yes, and it gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
That's how that book was started, Finding the Fortune, because follow-up is a myth. I think that people leave it on the sidelines. They look at the clothes, they look at how they're going to present, but then there's no follow-up. So I'll give you a small story. I was working with Uline, did a presentation for them, and they loved it. And then I didn't get any follow-up from them. I sent them a note, I sent them an email, and finally I said, I've got to do something different. What's going to really get their attention? So I brought out my trusty chattering teeth, put it in a Uline box that I bought with a little shred. I sent it to the guy who I had been hired from before. He opened it up. I had a note inside that had 2 chattering teeth with it and said, "Let's chat." Guess what? Bingo, he called me. It was a great experience to know when I went to his office, there was a chattering teeth on his desk, and he rehired me to do some more work with them. What are you doing to really find that fortune? So you have to be a little bit different, a little bit out of the box. How about following up with something else like this? I have these wonderful notes that I'll put in a card. And the card opens up, and inside is a note just for them. Something different. If you're not memorable, how are you really capturing the business again and again? What are you doing that says different?
Yep. There's a lot of speakers out there who are talking about differentiation. And there was one instance where a friend of mine, they got something in the mail. It's like I think it was like a wrench or a hammer or something, or no, I think it was a nail. And it says basically was, you're hard to nail down. When is a good time to talk? I'll call you Monday at 3 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy sat there waiting for the call at 3 p.m. and the call never happened. I mean, the guy he set aside his time. And now if that guy ever calls back, he's the last person he'll ever talk to because he didn't follow through with that comment.
Right. So we went to all the work to put it in a box, send it out, spend the money, then didn't make the phone call. Where's the credibility? This is what I see with so many people. We've done expos. When I earned pink Cadillacs years ago for Mary Kay, we would get thousands of leads. In Western Massachusetts, they had this biggie expo. We brought the Cadillac in, we filled it with balloons, and we took all types of leads. But if we hadn't followed up, we wouldn't have earned the next level, which was $500,000.
Oh.
We spent 10 days canvassing and being at the expo. We gave out pink bags. You had to count the number of balloons in the pink Cadillac. It was extraordinary, but it wasn't about me. It was my team. It was taking that team and teaching them how to follow up, be the best they could be. It turned our pink Cadillac into other red Grand Ams that the girls earned, to earning money by selling products. What a happy team we had. But that was teaching how to really follow up and have that success.
So you've kind of had a fascinating career, and which has to, I love it, the fact that you actually are walking the walk, as opposed to some people who basically they'll read a book and now they're a business coach because I read a book from either Napoleon Hill or somebody else, and so okay, I follow that theory, but they've never put it into practice themselves. You've definitely put it into practice. You're a great salesperson. You're multi-million-dollar roundtable, or is it $1 million roundtable, as well as a top seller for Mary Kay, and now you've got your own business. So you want to walk through some of those steps there, or do you want to just jump through the last part?
One of the things I have to say that could be a key for maybe someone new that's watching this program is, very early on in my insurance career, I learned that I needed to be the very best detective. I needed to listen. I needed to hear what people said, be in the moment. And this was so key to the growth of my business. Now, in any business, it's like a roller coaster. Think of those wooden roller coasters. When I was a kid, we used to go to Clementon Park in New Jersey. It was owned by a relative of ours, and we got to go there free on Labor Day weekend. Wow, what an extraordinary event that we would go to it. But I can remember getting on that roller coaster and holding on for dear life, going around the curves, going down the hill. It was just the most fascinating ride. Well, that's the business of your business. That ride of your life, it's like a roller coaster, and you're going to have ups and downs. My insurance business did well, and then we failed big. Why? Because I took my eye off of the prize and wasn't a good leader, but a great salesperson. And I needed to be a better leader for the people who worked for me. And when I merged my agency and then sold it, I got involved with Mary Kay, and I learned those valuable lessons of leadership. But failure was what brought me to the best successes. It was a time in my life I didn't know whether I was coming or going. My dad died suddenly, and I needed something new and fun. And boy, when Mary Kay walked into my life, was that different. I went from working with long-haul truckers to lipstick. But I needed a change, and I needed to learn. And I started at the bottom again and rose to the top. And now I've owned my own consulting business for the last 12 years. And I've taken all those tools in the toolbox to be able to help people grow and have a fabulous business. But it's listening. It's being that detective. It's a mindset. It's a change. You need to be realistic and inspire yourself and know that there's a process and trust the process.
Excellent. Yes, very moving story. And a lot of it is, and you're working on something new, is called How to Fascinate, which is, I think it's a step beyond that DISC test, which is DISC, which kind of gives you a personality profile. But with and because I took the How to Fascinate program with you, and I learned so much more about myself, and I discovered my strengths and how to strengthen my strengths, and not how to strengthen my weaknesses. Because a lot of times people will say, well, build up your weaknesses. If you're not good at sales, learn how to do better at sales. But that doesn't really work, because you're built, I guess your psychological profile, you're built to strengthen your strengths, and then you farm out those weaknesses to other people who have those strengths in that are your weaknesses. So you can tell me a little bit more about this How to Fascinate program and what it really tells the person about themselves?
How to Fascinate is a product that I stumbled upon about 6 years ago. I had been working with a gentleman called Andy Horner, who's a good friend of Jeffrey Gittimer's, and he owns a company called Outstand, and it's a CRM. It's a fabulous product. And I have my own white label called Out Connecting. And it really, again, you want to outsmart your competition. That's a great CRM program. But Andy brought on this woman to speak to us one day, Sally Hogshead. And she's the one that developed this assessment called How to Fascinate. She's a branding expert, has worked with major corporations all over the world. And for instance, if this cup were a Coke can, she would go to Coca-Cola and they'd say to her, we want to be different. Here's what we do best. And she realized after working with all these companies that it was the people behind the product. So what makes you different and what you do best is going to outsmart your competition, your communication brand. When I started working with this and became a certified advisor, it really opened my eyes to how communication is so valuable. And with taking this assessment, we can really differentiate you by giving you adjectives, phrases, things that you can put on your LinkedIn, Facebook, maybe you're writing a new bio, whatever it might be.
Your 60-second elevator pitch.
Right, that's going to set you apart. So my 60-second that's on the back of my business card says that I pioneer ideas with cutting-edge strategy to assist individuals and teams to grow and win. I don't use the word coach. What happens? Everybody throws me in the pile with all the other coaches.
Yep.
That doesn't say what I do, and people don't hear when I say coach. But when I differentiate myself, it really sets me apart. I have worked with individuals, large teams, the Marriott when they merged with Starwood and the two cultures. I have had the privilege and the honor to work with merchandising companies and real estate and all types of companies all over the country. Working with these teams, these people may be in their own silos at work because they're not communicating how they really come across. So we take them out of silos and help them emerge the team, help the sales team grow. That's what Fascinate's all about. The greatest value you can add is to become more of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Sally Hogshead said, different is better than better. Different is better than better. So what makes you different and what do you do best?
Yep. Although actually, another friend of mine who's on the show earlier this year, Scott McCain, was saying how if you go up to every single client and hit them over the head with a baseball bat, that's different, but it's not actually necessarily better. So he's had more of a differentiate or just be distinct.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I love the fact that I can help someone really ignite them and build their confidence. I love when I work with a team and Sally, who's sitting in the corner that never answers any questions. I have now found that because her personality is a little mystique and she's a listener, she just needs to be asked questions a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So different is better than better. And it's also, think about, you don't learn how to be fascinating with the product. You learn how to be unboring. So
yep.
I love it. I've worked with it for 7 years. In fact, I just took another major course with them. I'm one of their top certified advisors. Love to work with the team. The trainers are wonderful. And Sally is just on fire when you work with her.
So here's a real quick look at your page. If they want more information, we'll put this in the show notes as well, which is geneconnects.com/fascinate. Mm-hmm. And again, if you have any questions of Jean, type them into the comments here. And while we're at it, follow us, subscribe to this channel so you can catch our future shows and also take a look at our previous shows. So again, this Fascinate has a whole different dimensions in it. And we'll actually have an offer for you at the end of the show to how you can get involved and get a coupon to get some discount code for as well. So again, what has, I think it was offered or helped you get to where you are is Toastmasters. And again, we had a Toastmaster on a couple of weeks ago, another colleague of yours. I'm not sure if you were his mentor, you were her mentor, vice versa. But Eric was fantastic a couple of weeks ago. Toastmasters, I just joined Toastmasters again. I think I joined maybe 5-6 years ago and then just kind of let it slide. But I got more involved with it. This has taught me so much. I have learned how to cut my ums to a minimum. And a couple weeks ago, I did a presentation. You were there at the meeting, and you pointed out that I had a lot of so's in there. I went back and counted my so's, and I had a number of them, but I don't think I had as many as you thought you heard because I had most of the so's at the end of the conversation. And I think that's also important is how you begin and how you end are the most important. So let's talk about Toastmasters a little bit, about how you got that confidence in speaking through Toastmasters.
I got involved in Toastmasters. It's almost 25 years now. I was in Massachusetts, and I got invited to a Toastmasters meeting. It was held at a nursing home of all places. I walked in the door. The gal was there that was with Toastmasters, very friendly. She brought us into a room, which was a large gathering room, like a dining room. And as I sat there waiting for the meeting to start, all of a sudden, a few people from the nursing home came in walkers and all types of canes and sat down in their chairs, and they were quite elderly. But what brought me to Toastmasters to say I'm going to get involved was when a 94-year-old got up and he spoke about his World War II venture through and the journey that he had. And I said, wow, if he can be 94 doing this, I should be able to look at this and do something with it. And he, at the end, the person who was Toastmaster for the day talked a little bit more about Toastmasters and how it could build your confidence. This was at the time when we had not earned a pink Cadillac yet. And I felt I could use Toastmasters to spread my message clearer, more distinct, and to really take the jitters away.
Mhm.
I got involved. When I moved to Illinois, I decided there was not a Toastmasters meeting at lunchtime where I lived. And so I was at the Chamber of Commerce, and Eric Feinendagen was there. And I said, Eric, come join me. I'm going to start a Toastmasters meeting. He said, what's this? I said, it's public speaking. I said, you'll love it. And he came. Today, he's done exceedingly well, being a world champion
Mm-hmm.
and speaking all over the country. I'm so proud of him. He's like another son to me. But I love to watch how he's grown and aspired to do more with his business. So here's the best kept secret with Toastmasters. Whether you're ever considering to be a professional speaker, because I've been involved with the National Speakers Association, or you're just looking to grow your business and feel more confident, Toastmasters is the keys to open the door. It helps you build confidence. It teaches you leadership. It will give you a path that you can run on to find the education you need for what you want to do. You don't need to be a professional speaker to be in Toastmasters. But what if you're asked to get up at a chamber meeting and do a 2-minute overview about your business, and you're standing there shaking and you can't get the words out? Toastmasters is the icing on the cake. This is another way to outsmart your competition, because people will take the time. Why am I still in Toastmasters 25 years later? I get to practice. I get to mentor. I get to meet new people from all over the world. Our Toastmaster meeting now has people that have been there from New Zealand. I was in a meeting the other day. There were people there from Australia. I can be in Toastmasters meetings now with Zoom anywhere, get to learn new cultures.
Yep. And we got a couple comments here. One from Norm Roth, who actually was, I guess, earlier this year as well, who says, you're looking good.
Hi, Norm. Oh my gosh. Talk about someone you can learn from. Yep. I can remember taking many classes from Norm. Hi, Norm.
And then Patrick is talking about recording your speeches, because I do that as well. Every time I speak, I record myself to give myself feedback, because as a non-professional speaker in most cases, I usually just go off on a tangent, not really realizing what I've done. And by reviewing it, you can say, okay, well, I really didn't need to talk about the time my dog had to go to some park or something like that, when I was talking about internet strategies. So either way, so definitely record yourself. And in these days of live video, we're streaming to multiple platforms. Today we're on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. You're going to be speaking in public. Today, you commented on the fact that being on camera is different than being in person. And there's a whole new learning curve to being on camera, because a lot of times when people are on camera, they're kind of looking down at themselves, and their screen is down here, and they're trying to look at the person, and again, the person is down here, and they're not really connecting with their audience, and the audience is up here. So it's a different strategy there. So learning that, and I think Toastmasters, especially meeting with Toastmasters online, we're learning how to play with the formats of live video.
Absolutely. Tomorrow I'm doing a presentation for 15 people on Zoom. It's new and exciting, but I'm getting used to it and loving it. But that in person just sets me on fire.
Yep. Well, again, you're connecting differently because, again, if I'm on, again, Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn, I'm talking to a little green dot and I don't really see my audience. My audience is there in the comments, Patrick and Norm, and there's a number of people out there who haven't commented yet. So I don't really know who they are. So if you are out there, please comment, just say hi and say hi from where you're viewing from, because I know I'm reaching across the entire country and sometimes across the pond. So if you're in watching, just leave a comment. And then actually, if you're watching this on the replay, just do #replay and then type in your comment. And we'll actually come back to those comments. If you have a question of Jean about how to be a better speaker, of how to get in contact with Jean as well, then leave those in the comments as well. So we're almost out of time here. Is there any wrap up that you want to talk about before we give them the offer?
Well, I just wanted to tell you about a new book that I have coming out next year called The Confidence Package. And it's unwrapping the successes to conquer your fears. This book is going to be different. Let's put it that way. It's kind of written, I think it's going to be written more like Who Moved My Cheese? So we'll see. It's right now, I am in the midst of doing some interviewing and some research, but looking forward to bringing this out next year.
Excellent. And let's talk real quick about your first book, which was Get Up, Get Dressed, Get Out the Door.
Oh,
in these days, I'm getting up, I'm getting dressed, and I'm never leaving the house.
Right.
So I guess with that book, it's more like how to break up the monotony, how to break up the pattern of regularness.
Absolutely. And it's all about those connections. How are you making connections? So Bruce, let me just throw something out. And I'm so fortunate to work with Bruce. We have a new program that's going to be out, and it's going to be, I'm going to be doing coffee chats with 2 people. So I'm going to be the host. We're going to have 2 people come on. Maybe they don't know each other and they'd like to connect. So in my second book, I talk about that connection, that bridge. How do you bring other people together to help them find what they need? So look forward to this. Bruce is going to be producing it. Well, it looks like we're probably going to start it in November. And we're going to, if you or someone that wants to meet someone else, I am really looking forward to make those connections for you, help you do that. And one of the things that I have always worked with and will work with on that show is my coffee questions. And this little card I've given to thousands of people. Again, it's in my latest book, and it's all about the questions we ask to find out a little bit more. Remember, I said in the beginning that I learned very early on to be a detective. Now, what do you do with those when you're asking those questions? What's the next steps? And it may not be the connection that you've met that day, but it may be somebody they know. I also say that if you're on LinkedIn, please go to their LinkedIn page before you meet with them so you have some more information and can really make them feel important. Mary Kay used to say there's a sign around everybody's neck that says, make me feel important. And when we do that, now people are interested. Great.
And then here's real quick your books and your programs, your Fascinate and your Out Connecting. And you can find that on jeanconnects.com. And let's pull up a couple more comments here from Jody, my biggest fan. Thank you, Jody. And Leslie, I think your biggest fan. Wonderful interview. And your biggest critic, I think.
Well, she's also my marketing guru. If you're looking for someone that wants to set you apart, uses that creativity from doing her Fascinate report, this is the woman you need to know. Leslie Lips at leslielips.com. She is, I've worked with her now 12 years, and she keeps me in tune.
Excellent. So great. Thank you. You've been a wonderful guest, and you've gotten over that fear of talking in person over the internet. And again, I think the biggest thing is just do it. I guess that's a common
Absolutely.
look. But again, with most people, it does take practice, and I guarantee you the first few times you're not going to do it well. So if you practice in home, you can, I've actually talked with my clients to get over the fear of doing the live streaming, is you can actually go live to yourself on a private channel. And we show them how to do that, to get that practice, to get over that fear, and to do 3 or 4 takes. I left a voice message on a client's voicemail yesterday, and I did 3 takes on that. The first 2 takes, I just got like, okay, that was no good, delete. And that's a wonderful way, because I remember those days of tapes where you could not stop and do it over. Today with the voice messages, you hit that pound sign, it erases it, you just go take 2 and take 3. And so with the same thing, learning how to speak, and you're the person to actually teach them how to do that, to do it in public. We also, like I said, we had that one offer, which is your How to Fascinate program. And to take advantage of that, all you need to do is email Jean at jeanconnects@gmail.com to save $100 off of their assessment, workbook, and workshop.
And if you put Fascinate in the subject line, we'll give you 30 days to take advantage of this. Normally it's $300. And for the people that are on the call or watch this broadcast, it's $197. And I'd love to work with you. Let's outsmart that competition.
Excellent. So as far as I'm pretty much of November 30th of 2020.
Got it. That sounds great.
Although you're going to be around for years to come. So even if you can't take advantage of this, contact Jean, because you'll more than make up your investment in this in your first month of working with this. So great. I thank you again. You've been wonderful.
Thank you, Bruce.
And
I really appreciate working with you. And again, lots of tips on what equipment to use are on his website. Watch his programs, and stay tuned for Jean Connects. That's going to be our coffee talk that we're going to be doing in November, produced by Bruce.
Great. And then subscribe and follow us on YouTube and Facebook. And if we're not already connected on LinkedIn, send me a LinkedIn request and just say you found us on BSVP.com or BSVP on site. It's great. So real quick for the last part of the show, for those who want to follow Jean, here is a link to her YouTube channel, and this will be up in about 24 hours after the show was broadcast live. And then my YouTube link will be here, and there'll be another video over there suggested to watch that as well. So great. Thank you all for joining.